So let's talk about how you set your money aside for retirement to make sure that it lasts your lifetime. We call them bins, and I'm going to talk today in this video about your bins approach to retirement planning. I'm Rick DiBiasio, certified financial planner and the author of The Retirement Dilemma. So a bin is a large container for storing something in bulk. That's the definition of it. Well, let's talk about how to store your money for retirement. And this is a very official scientific method of managing money that I've managed to dumb down to a place where I can even understand it. And simply what we're going to do is talk about taking your retirement assets and segregating them into 5-year bins. Now, we've already talked about your gaps, how you have an annual gap for your retirement. So your first bin is going to be that gap times 5. So if you have a $2,000 annual gap, multiply that times 5, that's $10,000 that you want to set aside in your first bin. And those dollars are set aside into liquid short-term investments, not exposed to any market risk at all. And yes, we're not going to make a lot of money on that money right now with interest rates as low as they are, but we're going to withdraw that money as we need it over a 5-year period. Now what that does is that removes our immediate cash flow needs from any market fluctuations at all. Okay, so that's what we do with the first bin. Now the rest of the bins, and I go 2 through 5, but if you're optimistic, your 5-year bins might go 2 through 10 if you're going to live a real long time. But by removing your immediate income needs from this collection of bins, then bins 2 through 5 are invested in asset classes that are expected to do well over meaningful periods of time. And because we've set the money aside for longer periods of time, we try not to touch it. We may tinker with it from time to time depending on market changes in your lifetime, but as we get to the end of bin 1 in year 4 and especially in year 5, we'll start to make adjustments in the second bin so that will meet our income needs for the next 5-year period. And so this idea of segregating your money into, some call them buckets, I call them bins, into separate places to keep them, allows you to keep a longer term view on the money that is set aside for longer periods of time, while not worrying about the money that is set aside in savings type vehicles for the shorter term. Now, it's critical when you do this to evaluate the investment results of all of the bins and your expectations for what's going to happen going forward, and also to check in on your budget needs. A lot of folks that I've worked with over the years do a lot of traveling and have a lot of expenses in the first few years of retirement. Then they kind of settle in. They don't travel quite as much or spend as much money, so they can take a second look at what their monthly gaps are, and they may not have to spend as much money in those coming years. And I also stress that we want to look for opportunities as we go on in retirement to look for opportunities to invest more conservatively. In other words, as interest rates go higher and we can perhaps be rewarded as savers, we can start to invest our money more appropriately for retired type people. I go into this a great deal in my book, The Retirement Dilemma, and I hope that the information I've given you here will give you a start on getting that done. And you can check out our website, latitudesfinancial.com, to get more information. Thanks, it's Rick again. I hope this helped.